Hi guys, so what I'm going to do for you today is just a little free video. I'm just going to show you guys a really simple little easy floral design. This will not take long. You can add this on to your client's fill or their brand new set. A couple of these little designs won't take long. I'll show you how to do something really simple, and then once you're more comfortable you can go ahead on your own and add in a little bit more detail. I'll show you this up close. So I'm just going to show you guys a really simple one like this, and then as you get more comfortable with your art, with your tiny brushes, you can start adding in more detail and filling out the spaces where your clients want to have a little bit more, or say you have more space on the nail that you want to fill in. You can just do bigger and do better and do bolder, but I'll just show you the really simple one to start with today, and then you guys can just build on your own from there. Okay, so this will not add a lot of extra time onto your service. If you wanted to do a couple of these little designs, 5-10 minutes at the most. So the beauty of this is that it's a little bit abstract. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect, and your client will love it. Since spring and summer is coming, depending on where you live, we're still rolling with some wet weather and cooler temperatures. People are still wanting this really fun, pretty design, and they want something flowery and they want something bright. So this is the perfect time of year to add something like this in for your clients. So what I'm going to do today is I've just prepped a tip. I like doing designs like this on like a really neutral background. You don't want to have like a really contrasting color too much. This should always be like an addition to a set, or if you want to build a set around this, like because you have so much color going on in this, I find it looks a bit strange when you have a lot of color on the background and then a lot of color on the tips. So I like to use a neutral background. Like you could use a soft blue or a soft yellow or something subtle. I wouldn't put this on a really bold background unless that's what you and your client are both wanting. I prefer a neutral background for these, but that's just my personal taste. So what I have done is I've created this color on the tip. I've used 2 coats of Forever and then 1 coat of Innocent on top, just to kind of give it that nice soft pink tone. So Forever is just a slightly more opaque color. Innocent is really sheer, so it gives us really pretty pinky neutral beige. And then the colors I'm going to be using, I have Luxio Whimsical, Sassy, Dauntless, and Brazen. And then I have the gel play. I have white, black, and red just in the pots on the side here. And my little teeny tiny detail brush that I have cut within an inch of its life to make it really skinny and really thin. Don't be afraid to trim your brushes, you guys. I hear this a lot. It's like, where do I find a really teeny tiny brush? My brushes don't come like this. I buy them, and these are actually watercolor brushes, but I cut them, make them really skinny, and that's how you get the brush that you want. Okay, so don't be afraid to trim your brushes. You'll get what you want that way. Okay, so I've already done my 2 coats and 1 coat, so technically this tip has 3 coats of color on it. I'm going to leave the tacky layer on it, because if I remove that tacky layer, when I go to apply my colors to it, they're going to run around and kind of get messy. So I've left my tacky layer on the nail. So what I've done with these 2 tips, I've done my bigger design on this one. I've kind of done one on the bottom corner here. So if you think of how you're going to lay out a design on a client's finger, you will sort of want to have a nice flow to your flowers. So for this tip, I'm going to start my design maybe up in the corner up here. So then as your client's nails sort of flow together nicely, you have a bit more of a nice even flow to your pattern rather than just like bulky sort of randomly. So we could place this one, say maybe on the client's ring finger, and then this one maybe on the index finger, and another one on the pinky. So I'm going to pull this one up on the top, and we'll do our design up on the top here for you guys. And it doesn't really matter what colors you guys start with or what order your colors want to go in. Generally speaking, I try and keep my teal colors for the leaves, but you can do basically whatever you want. Mix and match your colors. This is what I happen to be using today. So there's no right or wrong, there's no guideline, just whatever you sort of feel like using. And what you kind of want to do is have more of a central focal point in the middle of your design. Sorry guys, make sure you can see there. So I'm going to start with a bigger dot kind of up in the top corner, and I'm going to work my flowers around from that. Now this does not need to be perfect. This is not a perfect circle. You can sort of leave a little bit of lumpies for some petals if you choose to. Flowers in nature are not 100% perfect, and these don't need to be 100% perfect either. Leave that there so we have a little bit of reference for you guys as well. I'm going to add a few little dots of color around these, and there's not really an exact pattern I'm going to follow, just kind of whatever I feel like doing. I'm not going to let my colors run together, but I'm just going to make sure that I have the desired effect that I want. Let's put a white one down here. And we're going to just flash cure these in between every couple of applications of color that we do, just so the colors don't run together too much. And be creative. Like if you want to add in a little bit more flowers than I am, or say you want to do something a little bit different than I'm doing, you go ahead and do whatever your little heart desires. As long as everything sort of flows together nicely and it all kind of looks like it belongs together, that's perfect. There's not like a set palette, a set design, a set anything how this is supposed to look. But I do find that I am doing a lot of simple, easy floral things lately, and clients do tend to like the abstract look. They like something that's a little bit more unique. I find a lot of clients don't want the cookie cutter kind of look that everyone else has. They want something a little bit more unique and a little bit more different. So even if you guys are new to doing nail art, this is something that's very simple for you guys. Like, don't be afraid to just pick up a brush and start playing around. Like, this is not too intimidating. You guys can totally do this. Okay, so we got a little bit of green going on in there. I'm going to take a bit of red, throw a little bit of color in here. We'll freeze cure that. And I'm not reaching for a bunch of different tools. I'm keeping this all within one brush. If you really wanted to add in maybe like a dotting tool, you could. It's not like you need a ton of extra stuff to do a design like this. Just a decent supply of colors. If you don't have quite the right color too, I mean, you guys can always mix things up. You can always mix a color and create a color, which is just easy to do too. So we're just going to add some dots into our flowers. I'm just going to throw that back in the light really quick. We'll let that cure up for a second. So now I'm going to come in and add a little bit of detail to what we've done. So I'm just going to take my black gel paint. I do recommend using a gel paint for doing your finer detail lines. Gel polish will work. It will completely. But I prefer using gel paint for doing a little bit more finer detail work. And this doesn't need to be crazy over the top detail work. We're just going to add a little bit of lines in here and just kind of bring things out a little bit. And again, these don't need to be perfect. It can be a little bit abstract, which is like I think a little bit better, to be honest. You can make it your own. You don't need to follow an exact set pattern. I'm going to put some little bits in here. And I think what I'll do actually is going to come in with a little bit of white. We'll add some dots onto that. If you wanted to do dots with a dotting tool, go for it. I'm just using the very tip of my brush. So that way I'm not reaching for a bunch of extra stuff. If I don't have the time, I can just use one item and one item only. Okay, so this isn't taking very long. This is quite simple and quite easy to do. I'm going to come back with my white. We'll add a little bit more detail in here. A little bit of color on the edges, and sort of see how your piece is looking. If you find there's like an empty spot somewhere that maybe you need to fill in, I think I'm just going to bring something down on the corner here a little bit more. I think it's just a little naked looking on that side. So maybe I will put in maybe just a little black stem right there, and let's put a little bit more yellow on this piece. Just a little yellow blossom like that, and another little piece of green. So there's no definite pattern. Follow whatever you feel like something needs to be added in. And I think we need to put a little dot in the center of our red flower right here. And that's it. Not too scary, you guys. So I'm just going to throw that in the light. We'll give that a full 30 seconds. So with this one here on the left-hand side, you can see I've added a little bit more detail to it. There we go, get that to focus. This one here has a little bit more detail in the flowers. I've added a few more stems, a few more dots of color into a few certain things. Start easy and see how you feel painting on a really simple design. And then as you get a little bit more confident, you can add in some more detail to your flowers and a little bit more oomph to each piece. But don't be afraid to layer up your colors and create a really nice, pretty spring flower design. So I'm just going to put a coat of Shine On onto this. Okay, I'm going to throw this back in the light and give that the full cure. So we'd love to see you guys. I want to see what you guys can do, what your work is, how you're making out. I do have a Facebook group for all of you guys if you want to join. It is called the Nail Files, Robyn Schwartz Students. It looks like this. If you guys want to post pictures of the work that you are doing, go ahead, just request to join. It'll ask you a few questions. And then when you have your flowers done, or if you're needing some help or just some general advice on how to layer or place or do whatever you need some help with, just ask me. You totally can. I want to make sure that you guys understand how to do this design and what other great ideas that you guys are coming up with. I'd love to see. I will be loading up, hopefully in the very near future, some more classes with flowers and a few more other things. So you can see how this design will put together nicely on your client's fingers. We have some different variations of this design. So go ahead and play around, do something fun, show me what you guys can do. And if you want to post on our Lably page, or not Lably, sorry guys, on our Nail Files page, feel free. I'd love to see what you are coming up with. So thank you so much for joining this free class, and hopefully we see you guys again really soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.